That's right.
You ready? All right. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. We have a very full agenda, and the first thing we have is a public hearing. Dave, you want to?
All right, so this is a public hearing to amend the zoning code, a little different than the public hearings to amend the zoning code that you often see here with the court reporter, where you have an applicant and they're seeking something from the city. This is where the Board of Aldermen, on its own motion, desires to amend the code, section 42130, to prohibit banners in the Market Street Parkway area from 1st Street to 3rd Street, and also on the Gerald Engelman Memorial. And so, in order to complete a change to the zoning code, first, that proposal has to go to the Planning and Zoning Commission. And that proposal did go to the Planning and Zoning Commission, who considered it on February the 6th. And there was a motion made, seconded, and passed to recommend approval of the amendment to the Herman Municipal Code, section 42130, to prohibit banners in the entire Market Street Parkway and the Gerald Engelman Memorial. When I'm finished here, if anybody wants to speak in favor of this amendment, you may. There'll be time allotted for that. If there is anybody who wants to speak against this amendment, there'll be time allowed for that. If anybody just has any questions about this amendment, why it's happening, why is it needed, etc., there'll be time allowed for that. We have some exhibits here to consider. Well, first, the actual ordinance to put this into effect will be later in the agenda under section 5 ordinances. So we will have an ordinance later in this meeting which will at least first read to go ahead and pass this amendment. So we have exhibit 1 is the affidavit of publication confirming that the notice of hearing for this matter was put in the paper. Exhibit 2 is the actual notice of public hearing. Exhibit 3 is the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes. And Exhibit 4 is the entire municipal code of the city of Herman, Missouri. Mayor Kerber, do you agree to accept those exhibits into the record?
I do.
Okay. Is there anybody that wants to speak in favor or against this proposal?
If there's no further...
I have a question.
Yes.
The verbiage prohibit banners in the parkway, is there definition of banners and or does that also exempt other types of signage?
In the planning and
Yes,
zoning
yes.
meeting, it said the other signs also.
And Bruce was at the planning and, or Alderman.
Yeah, I was there.
It says
Yeah,
banners
Alderman
that
Short.
are really classified as.
And they said that other signs and signage was included in the
Any
prohibition.
temporary sign would basically be considered a banner. Any permanent sign would need approval for us, and we're not going to approve it anyway.
A banner is defined as a sign made of cloth, vinyl, or other flexible material that's mounted by means of staples, ties, or other similar temporary supports. I think the idea is that banners are more temporary in nature, whereas signs are meant to be installed and stay there for a while.
And signs need to be approved here. by the
As an
Board of Aldermen, so-
example, yard sale sign, real estate sign that are made of something other than those types of material.
They're going to be removed promptly. Am I right?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay.
Verboten.
Okay.
Any other comments? Okay. I'll give a very brief report tonight. I know Mark has one. Most of the evening was spent on the Proposition Streets. I appreciate everybody coming and learning and talking and asking questions. As you know, that'll be on the April 2nd ballot. we're kind of excited about it, but yet it's not for us. It's for the people to vote on. So we're going to have a democratic process, and if people want it, they'll get it. It does take 57%, and maybe even to vote over, but probably 57%, and we will see what happens. So we cannot tell you how to vote. We can ask you to vote, which we all do. So really, I don't have a lot tonight because it's going to be very long. So I'm going to turn it over to Mark and let Mark give his report.
Mine is short also. First of all, as the mayor mentioned, I want to thank Wayne and Todd and Jesse too for their help putting the Proposition Streets presentation together. It was a group effort. I attended the Merrimack Regional Planning Commission meeting last week, and there I asked about our community development block grant status for the demolition of several properties in town. There's still no word. This was supposed to be out in December, and here it is almost March, so we're still waiting to hear. And tomorrow I will attend a meeting of the Ozark River Solid Waste Management District in St. James. This organization is a great resource for all matters that have to do with recycling. That's my report.
Thanks, Mark. Item 4 on our agenda tonight is the Youth Sports League report. And Mark, would you like to come up basically before us? Come on up.
Yes, help yourself to the podium, I'm sorry. Drag it right into the microphone if you would.
Basically, what we have,
Hey, Mark, do you mind putting it right into the microphone?
Is this microphone? Yeah, right. Hello?
basically what we have is tonight is a contract to approve or disapprove with a group, I believe it's called TSM.
That's good.
And for the operation of our little league and some other things. So, Mark, why don't you tell us?
And just brief background, as you know, historically, we've had trouble finding people to run the sports program. Baseball, t-ball, softball, soccer, basketball, and it's been a struggle. We actually put out application again this spring, and we had not very good interest in that. Well, lo and behold, TSM, these three people that are right here in front, they came down from Martin, and some of them from Martin, but they gave us we had a very long meeting that night, long presentation about what they did. They're involved with managing sports programs in other cities. I think primarily Martin, some areas around up there, and it appealed to us for number one. There's somebody that's willing to take on the work and responsibility, and they basically make their money by getting all the funds from the fees from registration fees and that matter. The city will provide everything. It's in the contract. If anybody, hopefully you've all had a chance to read that. We've been through it a couple of times. We ironed out a few details, but the board was unanimous in approving this idea. We answered a couple questions last week, but we're all happy with that, and we're looking forward to going forward with that. And we're hoping that if it works out, it might be a long-term thing, and maybe avoid some of the uncertainty that we have year after year.
Okay. Thank you. Does TSM want to say anything, or do the aldermen have any questions about this? TSM, do you have anything to say, or do you want to participate in this?
We'd be happy to introduce ourselves if that would be
Sure,
okay.
please do.
So the three people that are here today are the principals of the company. My name is Sean, and I am the IT guy as well as the financial guy. So I kind of run the back end of the business, and we are very excited to be here. We're very excited to see what we can do to make Herman's leagues the best they can be. So hand it off to Todd or Nicole.
Go ahead.
I guess I'll go.
There you go, Todd will go.
Ladies, yes.
My name is Todd Hamlet. I am one of the principal members of TSM. I have several years, and by that I mean decades, of experience running youth programs. I'm also a certified youth sports administrator through the North American Youth Sports Council. So that's all fancy language for I study kids and how sports relates to them and how they relate to sports. So I'm looking forward to this. We are a growing company, and this is an area that we are extremely both excited and passionate about. So thank you for your time.
Hello, I'm Nicole Thompson. I am the league director. So if you call, you will talk to me every single time. I love to see kids play. I want the most kids to play as possible. So if you have a kid that's like, I just don't know, send them to me. They'll play, definitely. But if you need anything, have any questions, please call me, okay? Awesome.
Thank you. I think I'll start off with one question, but I'm sure the alderman's questions, they'll have some too. But is the contract that y'all have worked out and just were working on today or yesterday or Saturday, is it everybody agreed on it?
Everybody agreed to it, yes.
Is that what we basically have?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that was my main question.
Just on some practical matters for maybe some parents and stuff, the city has been receiving the applications for Little League just because of the timeliness of the matter. So we will be turning all that information over to these folks, and what are you going to do with that information?
We will basically, all of our stuff is online. So we will put it all into our system, and then we will call the coaches and get a coaches meeting set up and start everything. I've already contacted all the cities you guys have currently played, along with some other ones that you haven't, to hopefully bring in some different teams and expand it a little bit. So hopefully that'll help.
And then with the next sports, like Pee Wee basketball and soccer, they'll be dealing directly with you as far as registration.
Yes.
You'll do in person and online?
Yes, we will do both until we migrate, probably in a year or two, into just online registrations to make it easier. But I am a people person, so I like to talk to everybody. I like to meet everybody. So
Good. I'm sorry, Sean.
Oh, I was just going to mention that when the schedules are published, when the teams are published, that kind of information is typically emailed, and then the schedule is also published on our website. Rain-out information, that kind of thing is also published on our website. So we're really going to try and drive towards an electronic communication for all of this. And then with the registration specifically, we understand whenever a community has been using paper registrations for so long, it's a tough transition. So we plan on being here a lot over this first year to accept the paper registrations, meet the parents, meet the kids, be a part of the community, and then we will slowly just transition over a year, like she said, over a year or two, to more of the online. As people become more comfortable with us, more comfortable with our website, they'll feel more comfortable registering that way. And then that way we can reduce some overhead and streamline the process.
What are all the sports that you'll be involved with here?
As of right now, it's going to be what we affectionately call TBS, T-ball, baseball, and softball. And then we'll also be basketball as well as soccer.
Okay, and what age groups? I'm sorry, I'm kind of new to the town.
No, you're fine. So are we. It's basically, we have programs that start at 2 years of age. All right, I know that sounds young, but basically, when I say starts at 2 years of age, we give them a ball, give them some method to not harm themselves, and say, run and play. But we really get Nicole's very good at this. As a matter of fact, she basically has started this program for us. And it's more like a parents as teachers, but sports related, if that makes any sense. So we want the parents to be involved because that's something that we feel is missing in today's world, quite frankly. So we want that involvement. But anyway, we started 2 and 3, and we'll go as long as kids want to play. So I mean, if now I know smaller communities sometimes, and also as you get older, less kids play. They get more specialized in one sport versus playing multiple sports. It's not something I necessarily agree with for the overall health of a young person, but it's the way that life has become. So, but we'll play whatever age. I mean, In Warrenton, just as an example, we have U16 soccer. We go all the way up to U16 soccer.
So you're administrative, do you also organize? To what level, maybe? Again, I'm not familiar with the youth program here.
No, you're absolutely fine. Yeah, I mean, obviously we administrate the programs, but as far as organizing them, you know, we're coming into this and we know that there's been a little bit of some situations in the past couple years here, not just Herman, but with some of the surrounding areas of maybe not like a centralized league to really play in. So that's going to be something that, though we can't fix that right now, that is something that we are going to be focusing on this year, moving forward into the next couple years. Is along with just doing this, we're going to attempt to create a league, or an organization, I should say, of surrounding towns that will also and have a centralized kind of governing body. Does that make any sense? So that all the towns are on the same page. We have a central scheduling program type situation. Umpires, if you go to our fields or if you go to Owensville or Gerald, in theory you should be playing under the same set of rules. That's always nice, you know. So those are the things that we will bring to the table as far as organizing them. And then just overall, we also bring umpire training, and we also bring coaches training programs. So, you know, we really focus on more developmental. That's kind of our philosophy, is the development of the youth in sports over competitiveness. Of course, sports are inherently competitive. So, yes.
Since you're taking over, are you going to give another deadline to sign up for Little League? Are you going to give people another week? Because I think some people have been kind of sitting on the fence, not for sure.
Yes, I mean, we were going to get the registrations, see kind of where all those numbers are, and then obviously we'll start putting out emails and some different stuff, but I'll let Sean speak to that side of it. All right, and because we're still getting some things. A lot had to do with the contract. You know, I mean, we didn't feel safe to start getting out there and, for lack of better terms, marketing what's going on until, well, there was an agreement.
And then is there a chance that after you get these established, you might go into like some adult? I saw kickball and...
There's always that chance. In the contract, there actually is room that with written permission, we can approach the board and ask to run a new program. You know, one program that we started running in Warrenton was kickball. And I know that sounds foolish.
No, I don't think so.
These kids loved it. I mean, they just absolutely loved it. We run adults, well, we don't run adult soccer there, but we do run adult softball, co-ed. Anytime you deal with adult co-ed softball, though, there's alcohol-related situations usually, so, you know, there might be some ordinances or something there that might prohibit that from happening. And then we also run futsal, which I don't know if you know what that sport is,
What is
but
it?
it's called futsal, Futsal. And it's picture indoor soccer done right. I agree with that assessment, but there's no balls. You can use a gym. It's very small-sided, 4-on-4, 5-on-5, okay? And it's strictly, they use a heavier ball. There's no heading of the ball, so we don't have to worry about concussions or anything along those lines. And
It's an indoor sport.
it's an outdoor, it's the actual outdoor soccer brought indoors.
It's the best for foot skills.
It really is. And the first time we ran that program, we had 60 kids sign up for it. I know that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but for the first time, anytime you run a new program, you know, it's going to start small and then hopefully catch on, right? So.
Sounds awesome.
So let me just touch to something you had said before we move on. So all registrations for this initial period are all going to have to still be paper. We've not done any of the electronic marketing for that. So we'd be happy to discuss an appropriate deadline for getting the paper in, but yeah, we've just got to keep it paper for this first round.
Mary?
Not having had children in Herman, although I was a child there, what is the calendar for these programs? How much does it overlap with school programs?
Depends on the sport.
Yeah, I mean, it really does depend on sport. Obviously, fall soccer will overlap by a good month and a half. Although we usually start our fall soccer program early to mid-August.
And is that true for the existing?
And then, because the thing is with, especially in the fall program, you run into deer hunting. I know that sounds weird, but we got to plan for it because
You'd better.
yeah,
And that's exactly the response we get when we don't.
yeah.
That and sausage making.
Yeah. Now that's a new one. We might have to adjust to the sausage making, but
Well, it's competitive, isn't it, Mike? Competitive sausage making.
Very competitive.
But anyway, it will overlap about a month and a half into fall. Now spring, I'd say probably about a month. Okay. Yes.
So how long has TSM been in existence, and is your contract on a yearly deal?
So as far as the contract is concerned, that's negotiable, but the first contract is for 1 year starting March 1st. The company organized in 2015, August 1st, 2015. However, Todd had been running leagues for about 3 years prior to that under his own company before I joined. And then I'll let him go into his experience, but he had about 15 years of experience running a league down in St. Charles prior to that. Go ahead.
Well, yes, I mean, I ran an association, I was president of an association in St. Peters called River City Athletic Association. I was also vice president of that association before then. I've umpired baseball and softball for 2 decades. And if anyone's interested, I also used to referee high school football, so I like being down there where the bones are breaking and pads are popping. So.
Is there anybody
Are
else?
you gonna have the
I'm
city
sorry.
take care of your baseball fields?
Yes, that is in the agreement, is that the city will still maintain the fields for games. They'll line them, chalk them, obviously set the bases.
Yeah, any other questions? Alderman, do you have any
Sounds great.
questions?
Well, honestly, I'm not questioning their professionality with running the games and everything, but I do have some problems with this contract. Where the contractor shall have no discretion or responsible for choosing all vendors. One of those, is photography. One of the items on our agenda tonight is to approve willing photos from Little League photographs. But these people are supposed to have the responsibility of that. Is that not a contradiction?
Because of the timeliness of the matter, the park board went ahead and decided to vote on that.
Yes.
And then when I spoke to them, they said that would be fine this time, again, because of the timeliness of the matter. But in general, you said you do seek local bids, especially for photographers. Again, the park board suggested Willing Photos as the best bid, and they can bid again next year.
And all of our
choosing-
contractors
There is
can
nothing
bid.
in here that guarantees that local vendors would be given any form of
That's right.
preference. I don't like that. I'm sorry.
Well, this year, they don't have to worry about it because they've already approved and they've agreed to that for this year. Next year's contract, we can.
Well, I would love you to give the example of the T-shirts, of why that, you want to explain that, how you get a better?
No, I get this. The one thing that comes into play, and it can obviously come into play for the health of the league as a whole, is that when we approach a vendor for shirts, as an example, one thing that we are doing is with having one league in Warrenton, a league in Moscow Mills, and a league here now, the combined buying that we're doing obviously can lower the price by going to one vendor. And that is just one example of how this can benefit, and that would benefit this league because it helps keep prices down.
It also allows us to purchase better quality shirts
Yes.
at the same price.
Well, it also does open up, it does also open up the local vendor for the bidding process. So
And will you put an ad in our paper that you're seeking bids for vendors for these things?
We can. We're not opposed to local vendors. I should speak to the microphone. We're not opposed to local vendors, but they have to understand they're competing against
Right.
vendors in other cities as well. But typically for TSM, what we're looking for is a TSM vendor, not a city vendor. So when we go with a vendor, we're looking for a company that would provide all of our shirts for the entire league.
Okay, I spoke with the person that just got the last bid for the Pee Wee shirts, and they were fine as long as they got an opportunity to bid. Because he said that may help us, because if we would get the bid, we'd have other towns.
We absolutely welcome any bids from any company within the city of Herman. We would love to get more bids.
But the problem is, our local vendors not only bid on things, they also do things in the community. Now, as a board of aldermen, when we look at contracts and stuff, we have the leeway to, if the bids are close or within a certain dollar amount, to give them the local contractors. This does not allow for that at all. It also says you guys have sole discretion over who can sponsor a team. Explain that one, please.
Absolutely. So we are taking on all of the financial responsibility for the league. We're taking on the entirety of the marketing for the league. And we have run into situations where the city has told us we don't want this vendor, and we've said they haven't broken any rules. We've run into other situations where the city says we really want this vendor, and we said, well, they've broken rules. So we just, as a company with our public image, we want to always have the best image for the league moving forward. So I don't think we would actually be across purposes here most of the time, because for the reality, we want the vendors that are going to provide the best image for the league to the community, which I think is exactly what you're saying. You have vendors local that you want to be a part of this league. We want those vendors too. We want those people too. We want those sponsors too. But if we're taking on the full responsibility for the league, if we're taking on the full financial responsibility for the league, which we are, then we have to have that discretion to say, wait a minute, we can't allow somebody who's causing problems, causing attendance to decline, causing kids not to want to sign up, causing parents not to want to sign up their kids because this particular vendor is in place. We need the authority to go forward and say, I'm sorry, we can't let you play, or we can't let you be one of our sponsors.
Okay, that was a good answer.
Yeah.
And Park Board is aware of all that, and you all
Oh, yeah,
have
we
you consented to
we
that?
discussed, yes, we did.
Yeah, something just for the general public, I don't mean to belabor this, and I know you all probably know this, but we're not paying them anything. They are doing this for all the revenues and all the expenses, and it's up to them to make a profit, to make this profitable, because it doesn't make that much money. So with the exception of the city taking care of the fields and paying for the lighting, it's on them to make it, it's behoove them to make this a success. And so they're weighing all those options, with the vendors and the sponsors and even the fees. Probably one of the first questions a parent is thinking is, hey, are they going to raise the fees immediately? Do you want to tell us what you told the park board the other night about how you probably would not initially, and then you'd have to reassess, because you've got to find that sweet spot to make sure you've got the right participation level?
I was going to say something about that. So we've guaranteed we're not going to raise the fees for the first year for sure. We're looking at trying to keep fees exactly the same for a minimum of 2 years. But the reality is until we get on the ground and know for sure what the costs and the fees are, we won't know where we're headed in that direction. But our goal is to make the transition from city-run leagues to TSM-run leagues very smooth and as painless as possible. We don't want to raise fees. We really don't. And the only reason we would is if we were in a situation where we had to. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make it where for at least the first 2 years, you will not see any price increase whatsoever.
We're promising the first year.
We're promising the first year for sure, because that's what we have contractually agreed to. If we had a 2-year contract, we would guarantee it for 2. But it's, our goal is to keep fees down, to draw attendance in.
What was decided about the concession stand?
It's not part of this at all.
So yes, if I may, there's some misinformation getting out in the community about the concession stand, so let's just clear that up. They don't have anything to do with the concession stand, and they don't want to. And so the concession stand, if it's going to be run, may be run by the boosters. Therese, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, very good. But TSM has nothing to do with the concession stand.
The concession stand will stay under total local control, local vendors and everything else.
Yes, 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 yes.
The only interaction there is we'll be publishing a schedule of games and various other activities that are on the field to allow them the discretion to open when they want to.
Perfect.
But I mean, we'll be coordinating with them on that.
Yeah.
Well, then the only thing I got back goes back to the question that I had before. If we approve a one-year contract for you all night and you're picking photography, what happens if we approve?
No, they agreed to go with the
They
honor.
agreed to go with it, okay.
They agreed to honor the bid.
When it comes to photography, we actually would rather keep it here. It's just so much easier. Usually they already know the people of the town anyway. So I personally think that keeping that local is a better idea. Whereas the shirts is a little bit different of a situation.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? I believe the motion is to approve or not approve. Do I have a motion?
If I can interrupt you, actually, there's an ordinance on the agenda on the next item if we want to.
Okay, so-
If we can read it 2 times tonight so that they can get working,
Okay.
that would be awesome.
Okay, well, thank you. Dave, do you want to read the ordinance 2 times?
Thank you. Sure. On to ordinances. Bill number 2019-05 would be an ordinance to approve a recreational league management agreement by and between the City of Herman, Missouri, Todd Hamlet, Michael Dare, and Tournament Sports Management LLC.
Now,
This is a one-year contract, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Let me read that again, please.
Bill number 2019-05, an ordinance to approve a recreational league management agreement by and between the City of Herman, Missouri, Todd Hamlet, Michael Dare, and Tournament Sports Management LLC.
I'll make a motion to approve second reading.
I second.
Okay, we again have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Do you guys want to sign your originals while you're here, and then we'll execute them and get a copy too?
Absolutely can.
Look at my
You want to do that right now?
Is that in that? Somehow in there, Washington. Warrenton.
No, it's corrected.
Okay.
It's right here on this.
Oh, good.
Okay, good.
That's okay.
So we can.
You
Okay.
can do that across the hall and just leave them where they're going. That's perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, we are now, can we move on to the bill?
All right. Bill number 2019-06 would be an ordinance to amend the city zoning code to prohibit banners in the Market Street Parkway and the Gerald England Memorial parking lot areas.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Now, are we back to square one, or has this been run through once already?
What do you mean?
No, I think
Oh, yeah, okay.
First reading on that.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Oh,
I'll make a motion to approve.
second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion's carried. Okay, moving on.
Next is bill number 2019-07, an ordinance to approve a municipal services and material contract by and between the City of Herman, Missouri and Breaks Tree Care for right-of-way trimming and tree removal.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried, and I believe we want to read that twice.
Bill number 2019-07, an ordinance to approve a municipal services and material contract by and between the City of Herman, Missouri and Breaks Tree Care for right-of-way trimming and tree removal.
Motion approved. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's approved.
Next
Yes.
is bill number 2019-08. It would be an ordinance to approve a municipal services and material contract by and between the City of Herman, Missouri and Westport Pools for painting and other maintenance of the City of Herman municipal pool.
I move the bill first read.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. We have old business here, and one item that I want to bring up is to clear up a little misunderstanding. I believe that the Board of Aldermen unanimously meant for our proposition streets to include streets and curb and gutter where necessary, but not to include sidewalks. Now, I'm going to ask, if I'm right, I suggest that we ask the city attorney to draw a resolution that says that, we bring it back in 2 weeks and we pass it. Am I thinking correctly?
You are.
Yes.
Okay. Let the record reflect everybody agrees with that. And Mr. Fleet, will you draw up such a resolution so we can have it? All right. Very good. Now we have a tourism website agreement. We have Melissa and Tammy.
And company.
And company. Sorry.
Who brought back up?
I think you brought back up second.
We're going to direct the posse is here.
To the front.
And I didn't read the dress.
Now get tallest to shortest.
Yeah, there was the ladies in black. There was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mary, you really ought to be up front.
Well, you can see we're a team, right? So all of you have in your packet a website agreement that is the document that we are talking about this evening. So my name is Tammy Bruckerhuff, and I am the Tourism and Economic Development Director for this beautiful city. Last year in January, I interviewed for this position. In both of my interviews, it was made very clear to me that the website, visitherman.com, would be a priority. That priority was to develop an agreement between the city and the chamber regarding the management of the website. I came on board in mid-February, and Melissa and I immediately started communication regarding the future of the website. After just a couple of meetings, we determined that this website is the #1 tool we have for visitor information, and the website is about the visitor experience when they come to Herman. With that in mind, we started putting ourselves in the frame of mind of a visitor wanting information about Herman. One challenge we had was figuring out which businesses should be included in this website. Is it only businesses within the city limits with a business license? What about the businesses outside the city limits who also contribute to the Visit Herman experience? What about businesses in communities 20 and 30 miles away from Herman? We needed to answer these questions. Another challenge that I will mention, but it is certainly not the last challenge, was how do we charge businesses and make it as fair as we possibly can? How do we make it fair to those businesses who pay lodging tax within the city, whether they want to be a chamber member or not? How do we make it fair for other businesses who are outside of the city limits, but still contribute greatly to the overall visitor experience? Melissa and I quickly realized that this task was more monumental than just the two of us could wrap our heads around. We needed input from the Tourism Commission and the Chamber Board. So we asked each of them to provide us with 2 volunteers who would help us work through every detail of figuring out the future of this most valuable website. Our subcommittee was made of Mary Kunstman and Derek Leroy, who represented the Tourism Commission, along with Muriel Bryson and Larry Kallmeyer, who represented the Chamber. The subcommittee met numerous times, and they hung in there with us to work through every detail of the document. Their input was priceless. My thanks go to Melissa and the subcommittee for working on a very important document which represents the interests of the city, the Chamber, businesses, and very importantly, our visitors. Did this project take longer than we expected? Oh yes. But I hope you will appreciate the thoughtful work that has gone into it as much as I do. I am very excited that we have a strong document presented to you. I am available anytime for questions that you might have, and thank you for your patience with this project.
Thanks, Tammy. I think everybody appreciates that. We're not going to vote on this tonight.
We're not done.
Well, I'm not either.
Okay.
We're not going to vote on this tonight, but we wanted to give you whatever attention we could so you could read to us and tell us about how it's going to work. Then we'll go back and think about this. Dave can look at it. And I have read it, and I've talked to you about it and Tammy about it, and I think, you know, I can see where you did a lot of work on it, and I appreciate that. And I think everybody else will too. I know you have other things to explain, so please do.
Thank you. Good evening. So my name is Melissa Lindsay, and I'm the Executive Director of the Herman Area Chamber of Commerce. I'm representing our Chamber Board of Directors, our Chamber members, and the Lodging Council, who provided invaluable input and support to this initiative. Thank you, Mayor Kerber and the Board, for the opportunity to address you this evening concerning the subject of visitherman.com. So I want to just add to Tammy's comments regarding the recent history involving the website. I think it's important that you all get a picture of the effort and time involved in this process. VisitHerman.com was the upgrade from HermanMo.info, which was the former Chamber website. It was created under the direction of both the Chamber and Tourism Commission. Its original intent was that it become the official website for Herman Tourism. Initial progress towards an operational agreement whereby the website could be jointly supported by both the Chamber and the City Tourism stalled for many months until shortly after Tammy and I both came into our roles. We heard from our constituents on both sides that what this beautiful little town needed most was unity. Unity in progress, unity in our future, and above all, unity in leadership. So in April of 2018, Tammy and I began reviewing the website for terms for an agreement. We began to work together, analyze together, and most of all, lead by example, that working together makes a difference. Two objectives were the overriding criteria for this website: representation of all tourism-related businesses for our visitors, and fair cost structure between, number one, those funding tourism through lodging taxes, number two, those paying chamber dues, and number three, those paying nothing. Multiple revisions and reviews have occurred since the initial draft review in July of 2018. A website committee, including the 2 members of the Tourism Board and 2 members of the Chamber Board, was formed to further review the website agreement in August of 2018. So what began as a joint effort, we stand before you today showing that it will remain a joint effort. It's not about the city, it's not about the Chamber, it's about our visitors. It is with them in mind that we will market our events, promote our Chamber members and business partners, and ensure that our lodgers are always considered first for accommodations. Mayor Kerber has recently stated that Tammy and I walked through landmines in creating this document, and we appreciate his acknowledgement of the extensive research and efforts involved. The final draft of this agreement was approved by the Tourism Board and the Chamber Board on February 14th, 2019. We hope that your review of this document considers the time, analysis, and cooperation involved in its creation and honor that with your ultimate approval. Thank you very much.
Before I say anything, is there anyone else that wants to speak?
Mary wants to talk.
Oh, Mary always has to talk. The mayor is. Mary Square. I'm here, I'm Mary Kunstman. I'm here representing the Tourism Commission. And I wanted to bring to you 3 points that I believe reflect our agreement about the agreement. One is we are very strongly in favor of having the VisitHerman.com's purpose be to support tourism and visitors to Herman. We wanted to encourage tourists to come to Herman, make it easy for them to do so. So it should concentrate on listing and providing an opportunity for our tourism-focused businesses. That was the term we came up with. We talked about terms till we were blue in the face. But a business is not a tourism business, it's a tourism-focused business, perhaps. So that's one point. We think the site should be a tourism site. And we think it's appropriate, point two, for the city and chamber to work together on this website. And point three is it makes sense that businesses should financially support tourism in the community if they want to be promoted, if they want to do advertising of their business on the website. We felt their contributions should be similar whether they chose to contribute through the chamber as a membership or through the website with a fee that they would pay. A non-chamber business outside the city limits, for example, will be paying higher fees than somebody within the city limits. People within the city limits who are not chamber members do have their business license that they contribute, and sales tax, of course. But, so we felt a fee structure. We thought there were either businesses were either tourism focused or not, or chamber members or not. But as you can see from Melissa's wonderful grid, there were a lot more categories. So that's the basic points from the Tourism Commission. Thank you.
Mary?
Yes.
Other Mary.
Mary 1 or Mary 2?
Mary 1?
Mary 2.
Yes, hi, I'm Mary Brunell. I'm the president of the Herman Area Chamber of Commerce, and I'm just here basically to tell you that we are in 100% support of Melissa and Tammy, the website agreement that is in front of you. I took on this position because when I was first joined the Herman Area Chamber Board, the tension between both of these entities, you could cut it with a knife. I couldn't get a clear understanding at the time. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I just couldn't figure out why it was that both of these entities couldn't work well together. And honestly, I do believe it's because of the two women that are sitting behind me. That they worked together, they understood that a collaboration was needed, not just with the two of them, but with the committee and with the support of the rest of the chamber and of the rest of the Herman Tourism Board. And they brought that together. They all created this and drafted that document, and because of their passion for this city and the passion for the work that they do and the work that they help, the collaboration that they created with between the board and the tourism board and the Herman Chamber Board. I think they created a really a spirit, esprit de corps that you don't get when you are at odds with one another. And so I think that voting this through not only gives this website to the tourists, but it also helps to create that esprit de corps within our city. So thank you very much for your time.
I'd like to thank all of you that were involved, and also take back to all the other people that weren't here tonight or weren't named tonight that have helped in some way. The fact that this has been a real effort, I still say you walked through a minefield. There were a lot of areas for injury and some of it critical, but you made it. And what we're going to do with this is we'll let the alderman take it back. Dave can read it. We'll put it on the agenda for a vote next time. And if there's any questions from the alderman, I would say that in the meantime, you can ask Tammy or Melissa, and they'll get answers for anything anybody wants to know. So I appreciate that, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. New business. I have something that's new. Chamber, Mary. hang on a minute. Yeah, I'm married too. You.
Married too.
Well, I want to bring forward an idea again, and that is for public restrooms in the Sesquicentennial Park. I think that you please check with your constituents and members and gauge their feeling.
Sure.
I can understand why businesses would not necessarily make their restroom facilities public, but it seems to me that we should have some type of permanent structure for tourists as a restroom facility. I have some copies of potential layouts, and I'll give our members or up here copies of that. But what I'm going to do is try to get some estimate of what something would cost, so that if it's decided we want to move forward, we can put it in the budget for next year. We always seem to sometimes get our cart before the horse, and we get to the budget and we don't know what it's going to cost. So I'm trying to be proactive, and I think I have this on electronic format. I can send you a copy. This is not anything special. It's just an idea.
You know, permanent structures are a lot prettier than those porta potties. So,
Well, anyway, I think that it's worth consideration.
absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Okay, motions.
I have new business.
Oh, you do? I'm
Yes, I
sorry.
do. A resident approached me this weekend about the commuter lot in Gutenberg. He says that a lot of trailers are being left there for days on end, and that not all the people parking there are citizens. And he's wondering if the city can do something about this, such as having a yearly permit to park there, and maybe yearly the city add gravel to that lot.
Wasn't there somebody that paid money at one time or
Yes,
brought in gravel?
that's the person that came to me.
Okay, and
And he's willing to pay for a permit every year to park there.
well, I have noticed that some people are using the lot and they're disconnecting their trailers and they're storing them like they would a lot, a trailer operating lot. And they're letting, so I don't know if that's something that we really want. but-
Well, actually, we've addressed this in the past.
Okay.
That is not what that lot's for.
But
We're
then
not
when you
supposed to be
see
dropping
people,
trailers and leaving them there for a week or two.
and our citizens that have big trucks, for them to be able to park it down there, that keeps them off of our residential streets too.
You know, that area, I have a drawing somewhere, I have lots of drawings, but that shows car parking in some of that. We'd have to line it off with paint. We can never pave it because it's in the flood zone. And if it floods, then we have to be able to clean it up.
Well, you can't
However,
let people park along the edge because it has a tendency to collapse, but the creeks are.
well, yeah, I think that,
And I think we need signage that says where you can park and say that it is for permanent parking only.
Right now, there's a sign that says it's for buses.
Well, we gotta have a place for those buses to park there in the day.
I don't think we're trying to kick anybody out. I think we're just trying to make it clear to people what it's actually for, and maybe where their area is and so forth, but go ahead, is there,
Well, and festival weekends, then of course, we wouldn't want full of trailers and things. We want parking for our buses and
I
cars.
thought there was a 24-hour,
Yeah, could you put it on there, it says parking by permit only?
you could?
That covers a broad spectrum.
Let's check with Marlon and the police department.
Wasn't there used to a sign down there that said permit parking?
I thought there was, but,
And don't they have to go to the police department and get a permit to park there?
Now the sign, I think, says bus, parking for buses only. But I don't know, I'll go look. Yeah,
But I'm almost positive there's a sign down there that said permit parking only.
well, we'll go look.
did you
Marlon?
make that sign?
Most of the drivers come in, I mean, a day or two at a time and they're out and gone, so, I mean, that's the only option is to park them. There's quite a few guys in town that drive these rigs, they have nowhere to park them.
How long are they allowed to drive their trailer?
I haven't seen, I mean, if that's what they're doing, but, I mean, if we have to get stricter, come up with a different law that they can't just leave them there past a certain time, then they have to get permits or something. I mean, they're just gonna have to change the laws or figure out a different system. for
Well,
that.
first let's find out what's going on. So,
Well, we had a semi just about become submarines out there.
Well, if they
The driver
do-
Parked and left and they couldn't get a hold of it.
I know. Let's find out what's going on and then we'll be able to move on with that. Good
Okay,
idea.
thank you.
Good idea. Any other new business? Now we can get to motions. Minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Invoices for payments.
I'll move we pay the bill.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to pay the bills. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. We have a motion to approve Madden Media contract for tourism advertising.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Madden. We have approved a motion to approve the bid from Wilding Photos for Little League photographs.
You want to do this one?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining?
I gotta abstain.
Motion's carried. Special event application, Herman Area Chamber of Commerce, Wiener Dog Derby, Upper City Park and J.C. Pavilion, March 24, 2019.
I will move to approve.
What did I say? Okay, we have a motion made to approve. We have a second. Made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Special event application, City of Herman, Tourism Department, 5th Annual Herman Wine and Jazz Festival, Amphitheater, September 6th, setup, and September 7, 2019.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Well, we have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Special event application, Missouri Stream Team Watershed Coalition, Paddle Missouri event, Riverfront Boat Ramp, Pavilion and overnight parking, September 20 and 21, 2019.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Do we have no, we don't have any citizen comments? So we all have on the agenda a closed session. So that, we need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make a motion, we go into closed session for the purpose of discussion related to negotiations for a contract pursuant to Missouri statutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, we need a voice vote.
Aye.
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 Okay, we're in closed session.
Yeah.